Almost 2 years ago, I took a big leap. I left behind stability, predictability, and a paycheck to run my design business full time. I do feel as, I'm living the dream to some degree, but if I was real, it hasn't been easy. Because there's something about a creative career that no one really tells you. You could do everything right, the projects, the clients, the deadlines, and still feel like something's missing. But let me track back a little bit. My name is Freddie, and I've been a creative professional in the industry for over a decade now. I spend a lot of my time, trying to be a good dad and a good husband, running Minor Creative, my design studio. And with the time I have left, I usually invest in my hobbies, spend time with friends, or, of course, this. Now I'm on a mission to help creatives restore wonder and joy back into their lives, into their work, into their stores. I've done a lot in my career, and it's led me to some incredible opportunities in music and leading worship and video and photo and design and everything in between. But for a while I thought heart and grit and talent would be enough. But even after a decade of creating work I was proud of, I found out it wasn't enough. I poured a lot into my work, but I still felt undervalued and unseen. I was stuck in the cycle of more deadlines, more hustle, more grind, more output, and it cost me a lot. And eventually it cost me my joy. And so in 2024, I made one of the hardest decisions of my career. I left a stable job with a great team and took my side business full time. And so for the first time in years, I actually slowed down. Started making space for my family again. I picked up music again. I reconnected with my faith, and I took the time to heal from some of my wounds and my past hurts. And in that space of slowing down, I realized something I'll never forget. I'd been building this life I didn't really want. And so, that moment changed everything. It forced me to look deeper, not just at my career or my job position or like my 5-year plan, but at the rhythms that were actually shaping my life. And so throughout that journey, I realized I wasn't alone. There were other creatives who were living the same way. We were all feeling like we were measured by what we outputted and not like who we are as a person. We were rewarded for overworking and not resting. We were pushed into burnout, but never really taught or encouraged to recover. And so that's when I started building something new, something that I thought could not just help me, but other creatives find their way back to joy. And so I call this the Renewal Compass. It's built around 4 directions that I believe every creative needs to know. Those steps and those directions are renew, reorient, reinvigorate, and reconnect. Each one represents a different rhythm, a way of coming home to yourself when you've kind of drifted off course. So the first one is renew. It's learning to rest, truly rest and refill your heart and your soul and your life. And then from there you reorient. You kind of find clarity when you've lost your way. And then you reinvigorate, rediscovering the wonder and joy and curiosity in your work and in your life. And reconnect is just reconnecting with the people who love you, who care about you, and seeing that you don't have to create alone. And so today I'm on a mission to guide other creatives that need the same journey, to show that rest isn't the enemy of progress, and that creativity can actually come from a place of peace and not pressure. Because I think creativity should give life and not drain it. And so if you've ever felt stuck, exhausted, or unsure of what's next, you're definitely not alone. But I want to encourage you. I think the unknown and the difficulty is actually where renewal begins. So I'd love for you to join me on the journey of rediscovering joy, the joy of creating again. And I would love for you to you can start with downloading this creative renewal map that I created. It's free. Just hit the link in the description. I'm not trying to sell you anything. I'm just trying to help other creatives and fellow creatives find their way back to wonder and joy in what they do and who they are, and also in what they're creating. So if you want to jump in on that, jump in, start with this creative renewal map. And if you ever want to reach out, you can reach out to me and DM me on Instagram, and we can connect. So thanks for watching, and have a great day.